49,418 wildfires, 7.47 million acres, 26,890 personnel on the line right now, this morning. Those aren't estimates. Those are the official numbers straight off the Federal Incident Management Situation Report updated this week. And here's the number that should stop you cold. 75 large fires are still burning uncontained across this country at this very moment, and 7 brand new large fires broke out in just the last reporting period alone. For the first time in years, an American state has needed both a presidential disaster declaration and a federal public health emergency at the same time, just to keep hospitals running while entire communities burn. This is Fire Season 2026, and it is not slowing down. Welcome to the channel of Extreme Weather US. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because today we're going deeper than the headlines. We're breaking down exactly where this crisis stands, fire by fire, using the latest official numbers available. Let's get into it. Let's start with where the season stands right now. As of the most recent federal statistics, the United States has recorded 49,418 wildfires this year, burning a combined 7,471,468 acres. Of those, 3,623,454 acres are tied specifically to large, actively managed fires. Compare that to where we stood just a few weeks ago. In late July, the year-to-date total sat around 4 million acres, already about a third above the historical average for that date. By mid-August, independent fire tracking services were reporting somewhere between 6 and 7 million acres nationally. Now we've pushed past 7.4 million, and the season still has weeks of peak activity ahead in parts of the West. Put another way, 2025's entire fire season, start to finish, burned roughly 5 million acres. This year blew past that mark in early August, with a large stretch of peak fire season in the Rockies and Pacific Northwest still to come. Currently, 26,890 personnel are assigned to active wildfire response nationwide. Some daily counts earlier this week ran even higher, close to 29,000 once you include support, logistics, and dispatch staff layered on top of ground crews. The country remains at National Preparedness Level 5, the maximum on the 5-point scale, meaning federal resources are fully committed with essentially no slack left if a new major fire breaks out somewhere unexpected. If one state defines this season, it's Washington. And the story there has moved well beyond fire lines and containment percentages into something rarer, a full federal emergency response. Here's the timeline. On August 1st, Washington's governor declared a statewide state of emergency, citing drought, extreme heat, and high winds, and imposed a burn ban on most outdoor and agricultural burning that remains in effect through September 30th. On August 4th, a federal emergency declaration followed, covering 6 counties directly hit by the fires: Chelan, Ferry, Okanogan, Spokane, Stevens, and Yakima, along with the Confederated Tribes and Bands of the Yakima Nation, the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation, and the Spokane Tribe of Indians. Then, on August 7th, it escalated again. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services approved a federal public health emergency for the entire state, not just a fire declaration, a health emergency. That designation exists because the fires had disrupted healthcare services badly enough that some hospitals had to evacuate patients and transfer them to partner facilities just to maintain care. The declaration speeds up medication refills, cuts paperwork for healthcare providers, allows temporary alternative care sites in shelters and hotels, and relaxes several standard regulatory requirements. Also, displaced residents, older adults, and people with disabilities can keep getting the care they need. And this crisis hasn't only been sparked by lightning and heat. In Spokane, a man has been charged with arson after telling police he had been planning to start a wildfire for weeks. A stark reminder that not every ignition this season traces back to nature. Washington state has now burned more than 650,000 acres in 2026, its worst fire year since 2021, and there are still months left in the season. Little Giant Fire still barely contained. The fire anchoring that emergency is the Little Giant Fire, 30 miles northwest of Leavenworth in Chelan County. It started from a lightning strike back on July 15th at just 5 acres. Today, it sits at 137,593 acres and only 12% containment, meaning crews have secured barely 1/8 of its perimeter after more than a month of fighting it. The growth curve on this fire tells its own story. It crossed 51,000 acres in late July. It topped 70,000 acres days later. By early August, it had passed 116,000 acres, still sitting at just 2% containment, and had already destroyed 26 structures, 2 primary homes, 3 cabins, and 21 outbuildings, confirmed by the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. It has cost tens of millions of dollars in suppression efforts. As of this week, containment has crept up to 12%, but the fire remains largely uncontained across most of its perimeter, with active fire behavior including flanking, backing, and group torching, and evacuation, area, road, and trail closures still in effect. 2 other Washington megafires, the Sinlahican fire near Tonasket and the Kaiser Canyon fire on the Colville Indian Reservation, have each burned more than 120,000 acres in their own right, meaning 3 separate fires over 100,000 acres are burning simultaneously in a single state. In New Mexico, the Frijoles fire has become the state's 3rd largest wildfire of the year. It started from a lightning strike on August 4th, 3 miles east of Condillo in the Pecos Wilderness, 10 miles north of Ski Santa Fe. Its containment history has been a genuine roller coaster. It briefly reached 12% containment, then fell back to 9% as westerly winds pushed flames deeper into the Santa Fe National Forest. Crews then made a sharp push, jumping containment from 9 to 31% in just 2 days as hand crews dug trench lines, heavy equipment moved earth, and air crews dropped retardant along more than 40 miles of fire perimeter. As of the latest incident update, the Frijoles fire has burned 13,933 acres and holds at 31% containment, with 866 personnel assigned. Fire officials describe the fire as remaining active, with additional resources still arriving. On the ground, residents on Camino del Cañón Road in Condillo are under go evacuation status, while the rest of Condillo, Cerro Piñón, and the Borrego Mesa area remain on set status, ready to evacuate on short notice. Smoke has become its own crisis here. State health and environment officials issued a smoke advisory and deployed additional air quality monitors in Nambay and at the Harold L. Runnels building, with a 3rd planned for Mora, specifically to track the fine particulate matter wildfire smoke produces, smoke serious enough to affect communities well outside the fire's direct footprint. Remember, too, that fire behavior here has previously been classified as extreme, crowning, group torching, and long-range spotting all at once, the most dangerous combination in wildland firefighting, where flames leap treetop to treetop and embers start new fires miles ahead of the main blaze. Not every story this week is bad news. The Big Grass Fire, straddling southeastern Oregon and southwestern Idaho near Jordan Valley, has been the largest single fire in the entire Northwest region this season, burning roughly 579,000 acres. After weeks of Level 3 go evacuation orders across parts of Owyhee County, covering areas like Pleasant Valley, Flint Creek Road, Triangle, Antelope Ridge Road, and the 45 Ranch, containment has climbed substantially, now sitting at around 85%. A Level 2 set warning still covers areas closer to the Oregon-Nevada state line, but firefighters are finally gaining real ground on one of the season's biggest incidents. Step back and the shape of this season becomes clear. This isn't a story about one bad fire in one bad state. It's multiple states: Washington, Oregon, Idaho, New Mexico, Montana, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Alaska, simultaneously managing fires large enough to demand national-level resources, military support, and international mutual aid, all while the underlying weather pattern refuses to break. Washington's crisis escalated far enough to require a rare combination: a presidential emergency declaration, a federal health emergency, and a state-level burn ban lasting through the end of September. New Mexico is watching its 3rd largest fire of the year fluctuate between rapid containment gains and sudden setbacks as monsoon winds shift. And even the season's single largest Northwest fire, at nearly 580,000 acres, has taken more than a month of sustained effort to reach 85% containment. Nationally, we are already tracking well above the 10-year average for both fire count and acreage burned, and federal forecasters aren't projecting the kind of cooling, wetting weather pattern that would meaningfully slow things down. That means the numbers in this video are not the peak. They are a checkpoint in a season that officials expect to keep grinding forward for weeks yet. If you live in or near any of the areas we covered today, Chelan, Ferry, Okanagan, Spokane, Stevens, or Yakima counties in Washington, the Pecos Wilderness area in New Mexico, or anywhere under an active evacuation notice, please take official guidance seriously. Set status means be ready to leave in minutes, not hours. Go status means leave now. Register for your county's emergency notification system if you haven't already. Keep your go bag packed. Watch your county emergency management page for the most current, authoritative evacuation levels, not social media rumors. We'll be back with the next update as new incident reports come in. If today's breakdown helped you understand where this season actually stands, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stay safe out there, and to every firefighter, soldier, and support worker still on the line tonight, thank you.